Welcome to Founders Future, a podcast by Closers.io, where we dive into the journeys of innovative entrepreneurs and explore the road ahead of them and their companies. I'm your host, Olivia Sammons, and in each episode, we'll uncover the stories behind successful startups, the challenges faced along the way, and the strategies driving their future expansion. Today, we're excited to have Kevin Flanagan, the co-founder of My 24/7 VA joining us. Kevin will be sharing more about his founding story and giving us a glimpse into plans for future growth. So let's jump straight in. Kevin, welcome to Founders Future.
Hey, Olivia, how are you today?
Awesome, awesome. Very good. Very excited to have you here and hearing all about my 24/7 VA. So maybe we could start at the beginning. What specific problem inspired you to start my 24/7 VA?
Yeah, so I actually started with an IT business that was a break fix that evolved into B2B, B2G. And a couple of companies were courting, acquiring my business. I found the whole process pretty fascinating. And I ended up selling software that I created to help automate businesses' workflow. Like most people who got lucky early on, I retired for a little bit, was spent a couple years on a spiritual journey, which was amazing. But I never lost my fascination for the brokerage process and the M&A process. And so when I came back into the workforce, I decided to become a broker. What I didn't realize was how far behind brokers are in both technology and kind of organizational structure. So the brokerage space is an incredibly difficult space and it can be equally as rewarding, but it's usually a one-man show. And that one man is usually not leveraging technology the best way that they can. So what we discovered, like many brokers, is a pipeline of affordable labor, typically from India, the Philippines, and they are called virtual assistants. A modest salary here to them is like a college graduate level salary. So it allows you to get the type of administrative support that you need without breaking the bank. Because as a broker, it's feast or famine. You may go 6 months without closing a deal. So to hire somebody here, provide them with benefits, health insurance is near impossible. But to outsource that and to get somebody that's college educated, does not have an accent, they're very Americanized. Their culture is actually built to support American businesses. That's what their entire culture is. Some countries are built for tourism. The Philippines is built for BPO. And they're exactly 12 hours off of us, but they have shifted their economy to pretty much everybody works the night shift over there to support the American economy. So, like many brokers, when we first discovered it, it was very difficult to find a quality VA. We're like, hey, we found a
Hmm.
great concept. Here's somebody that can work 40 hours a week or more in my business. It's not going to break the bank. But there's reliability issues, there's some internet issues, there's some quality control issues, and they're not in your office every day. They're not bound by US laws in some ways. So the quality's not there. You're getting what you pay for. But there are diamonds in the rough. And after experimenting with 5 or 6 virtual assistant agencies, my partners and I decided, hey, we think we can do this at a higher level. There are, and the number is going to sound crazy, but roughly 1 out of 1,000 VAs that we've interviewed is a top-notch caliber VA that would blow away anybody even here in the American workforce. So we developed an automated pipeline to find those diamonds in the rough. And now we've built this agency over the last couple of years where it's all the diamonds. And we have
Nice.
a very interesting automated process of how we find them and specializing them in real estate, specializing them in medical device manufacturing, whatever the client needs. So we find them, train them for a couple of weeks for whatever the client needs, and then we assign them to the client. And you would think it would stop there. Unfortunately, the other issue with getting a VA is you get one VA and you're like, perfect. This is a $80,000 salary quality person that I'm getting for a fraction of the cost. They're happy because in their economy, they're making great money. They're passionate about coming to work. This is great. But they get sick. They a life change event happens for them. Now all of a sudden
Mhm.
they're gone. So you've invested some time, money, and energy, same risk as using the workforce here, and now they're gone. And oftentimes, because they are in another country, they'll just disappear. They don't have the same, like, they're not a part of our community. So they're not going to give their 2 weeks notice. They're just going to disappear. So we created an SOP for every one of our clients and a flex team. So now, not only is our quality of VA better to support those businesses, our process is better. We're automating the workflow of all the clients that we're working with to the highest degree that we can, to the point where we actually became an enterprise partner with GoHighLevel. You familiar with GoHighLevel?
I am. Love that.
So
Yeah.
we have our own APIs and our own snapshots in GoHighLevel to automate almost any workflow. Brokers,
Awesome.
like I said, even HIPAA compliant workflows. So now we've basically taken the pain points that we've experienced over the years and our clients have experienced
Mm.
and addressed them in a system that so far, the last year and a half or so, we've really smoothed out has been pretty foolproof. So now, for the price of one VA, you're getting 2 to 3 quality VAs that are rotating because they also do suffer from burnout. They're working the night shift. So
Yeah.
you could have a phenomenal VA for about a month. They're working 40, 50, 60 hours. They're going to burn out. And burnout on the night shift is different than burnout during the day.
Mm.
So what we found instead is having a VA come in for 4 hours and then another VA come in for 4 hours increases productivity, decreases burnout. They have better life balance. They enjoy coming to work more. And it's a fresh set of eyes. So they bring new
100%.
solutions to the same problem.
Yeah.
So that's the short version of the journey that we've been on to create this VA agency. And now we're looking to support businesses internationally as well.
Awesome. It sounds incredible. You've drawn on your experience and kind of seen the gap where you may have struggled yourself as a broker, being a solo, even a solo entrepreneur, and all the listeners out there that can relate to that themselves, and developed the system and the software, but then also backed it up with systems where, should that falter, as you say, should they receive burnout, should the person get sick, should the VA maybe not be able to support you where you need them to at that time, and then backed up with a system where you can really rely on 24/7 VA. And I love that completely. So, with that being said, walk us through the nuts and bolts of the business. What is the core offer and the pricing module?
So the core offering is a package from GoHighLevel that typically goes for $5.99 a month. That's the enterprise package. You can automate all of your workflow. There is some setup involved. All of your conversation, and you'll like this, Olivia, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook,
Mm,
email, all in one chronological conversational style thread.
awesome.
Which is so helpful for us because we're talking to people in so many different mediums. I'm always like, where, I know you sent me something, but I don't even remember where I sent you. Is it on Facebook?
Yeah,
Is it on WhatsApp? So getting everything in one place, automating your drip campaigns and your customer follow-up, automating your cold outreach. No matter how good your business is, you're still going to have to do cold outreach. And then no matter how good your automations are, you still need the human touch. And that's where the VA
agreed.
comes in. The VA can personalize things. The VA can, some of them are phenomenal salesmen. They can do cold calling. They can close sales on their own. And if you have a particular product or SaaS, our sales team can train them, work hand in hand with your team, and you can have a couple of outside sales reps for, again, a fraction of the cost. They're also happy to work on commission. You can create a commission structure for your product.
Awesome.
So that's
Yeah,
another route to go. And then the important thing is AI. is if when you layer it. So the first layer is AI. AI can do a lot of the grunt work, a lot of the admin work. It can produce a 100-page document in seconds. Then that gets audited by the VA. The VA makes sure, okay, is this good to go out to people? And then your organization audits the VA. So with that
Nice.
workflow, productivity goes through the roof. And even one-man shows are appearing to be like a full organization.
Yeah. Actually, when obviously speaking to a lot of entrepreneurs and the people we have on this show, a lot of them, the time constraint is one of their big things in scaling and growing their own business completely. And this looks like it's a unique way of solving that. As you say, it's freeing up the time that they can have to then do what they do best with the VA behind them and supporting them with the back end systems. What does your sales process look like from initial contact to close deal on the side of
So
24/7?
sales training is another thing that we offer. Sales is listening. So our sales process always starts with a good discovery. We need to learn as much about your business as possible. We need to know the pain points of your business. Every business's pain points are different, but also every business owner or manager has different pain points. We
Yeah.
just met with a gentleman who's doing 100 million in revenue in Vancouver. His pain point was email. As crazy as that sounds. He's built a fairly large, successful business, and he says, I can't stand email. I'm just not good at it. I don't like the way it looks on the phone. So we were able to, one, assign him, he actually needed two VAs to go through his emails, and two, create a API where his email could actually work through his text. He loves to text. So
Awesome.
he can send a text message that gets converted into an email for his team, automatically creates a to-do list item. If there's a date and time, it automatically goes on his calendar, and we've basically solved his pain point. So that's his personal pain point and his organizational pain point. So once we do that, there's some back and forth typically for a couple weeks. Hey, can we tweak this? Hey, we like that. Social media marketing plays a big role. Essentially, our graphic designers will come up with months of content, and that months of content comes through to the client on an app. They can approve, hey, I like the way this looks. Hey, this doesn't really match our branding or our message, and then the VAs will tweak it. And then once we've developed that SOP, it's pretty hands off after that. You know, that
Yeah.
you've been assigned a little flex team, you're going back and forth with them, and they really feel like a part of your organization after that.
Awesome.
So the GoHighLevel Enterprise by itself with no customization is $5.99 a month. It would be on you and your team to build it. We build it for you. We include two VAs, one admin, one cold caller. That entire package right now we can offer to your listeners for $9.99 a month. So for
Nice.
$9.99 a month, they're getting
Yeah.
the GoHighLevel. We have the only API with open phone, which is a great dialer, and they're getting one admin and one cold caller. So a one-man show can suddenly really scale what they're doing.
Yeah, 100%. And as you say, the one man band then grows into a team overnight that's customized and really based on their approach and helping them personally, which is incredible. Talking about scaling and growth, what is your biggest bottleneck to growth right now? Would that be lead generation, sales conversion, fulfillment capacity, or would you say something else entirely?
It would be fulfillment capacity for sure. We're a prisoner of our own success. We generate way too many leads. So funneling the quality of the leads is a big one. We also have our own portfolio of businesses, our brokerage for commercial real estate and for business brokerage. We also have a competitor to BizBuySell, which is called NDAbox.com. That's completely run by our VAs. And then here in
Hmm.
Tampa, Florida, in Tampa and Sarasota, we have a couple of service-based businesses, like cleaning business, things like that, that are also run by VAs, all of the VAs in our organization. So our biggest pain point right now is getting enough VAs to meet the demand Essentially, we're hiring a wave ahead of the next wave of leads and trying to figure out what that is. So we have a couple of clients now who want 100 VAs, and we're not quite there yet. So that's our biggest pain point to fill a 100 VA order like that.
Yeah, and so you're scaling, and as you mentioned a little bit earlier on, that the scale that you've come to in the past year and a half has surpassed your expectations now. So it's fulfilling and keeping pushing and growing as it grows. What are your top priorities for growth? Where do you see 24/7 VA going over the next 12 months?
We'd really like to grow strategically. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of synergy between BPO offering support to business and our business brokerage, which also leans into NDAbox.com, which is a safe and secure way for people to buy and sell businesses. So NDAbox.com allows everybody to streamline signing NDAs, sharing ideas, whether it be a startup or we have a $9 billion business on there in Sweden. If we could find businesses that we could also represent as a broker, if I
Yeah.
could, 8 out of 10 businesses are not sellable because they're not ready to be sold. Right now, we have a lot of baby boomers that are running their business on paper. If I can get that business, throw him some VAs, digitize his business, get him a website, get him social media, that's really strategic because now that business is ready for sale. Now I can pass them off to our brokerage. And that's what we've been doing really well. It's what we've tried to focus on. And then, like I said, growing the international presence. So, working with brokers internationally, working with businesses that are looking to raise capital or looking to sell. If we can support them, increase that valuation, now we
Yeah.
really have a serious value proposition that nobody else could compete with. VA agencies are not prepping your business for sale, typically.
Yeah, no, this seems like a multi-package thing moving forward. And as you mentioned, VAs usually focus on the one thing, which is the virtual assistant, so the back end stuff. But the fact that you're running the separate funnel too and looking to add the brokerage, looking to go globally, the plans are there for scaling. So if you had unlimited resources and snap of your fingers, you could have whatever you wanted, what would you implement or what would you change to immediately accelerate growth?
We would hire more VAs.
I
The
think I saw that one
VA,
coming.
there's a direct correlation between the VA output to scalability. And yeah, that's what we would do. And in fact, more so than anything, that is a great question and we've experimented. I wouldn't spend it on advertising. We don't do a whole lot of advertising or marketing. I would pour it into them. And they really learn your business and take pride in what they do. That's the other thing that we really like about them. My wife was an instrumental part in this. She's a consultant for Deloitte, and she consulted to the head of cybersecurity for Meta. So Meta's entire workforce is based in the Philippines. And a lot of them have moved from India to the Philippines because of their culture, their work ethic. They're exactly 12 hours off. So we've been able to use some of those processes to find those good VAs, and they come in, they don't feel like, I hate to say it, they feel better than the American workforce right now. The American workforce is very fragmented. They've been highly critical of their work ethic, and I think it's a fair criticism. It feels like a renaissance working with the VAs in the Philippines. They're up and coming, they're hungry. So you
Mm.
get them in there, you give them the tools, you give them the training, they're going to bring you results. And that's what we've found. So we would hire as many as possible.
Awesome. And you did touch on that you don't do marketing, you don't focus on that kind of stuff yourself. How are you going out and acquiring these VAs? How do you find and how do you source them?
The VAs, again, their entire economy is built on it. So
Yeah,
finding VAs is not difficult. What's difficult is, like I said, finding the diamond in the rough.
the
It
right ones.
it
Awesome.
truly is. We're very obsessed with data. It truly is one out of about 1,200. And
Nice.
we have a very streamlined process. What we're about to launch that nobody has is a marketplace for the VAs where you're getting their words per minute score, you're getting their English proficiency, you're getting their background, what they specialize in, and you're getting our first round of interview with them. So you can scroll through our website. We have not published the beta yet, but you can scroll through the website and select your own VA. You can filter by medical, you can filter by real estate, and you can watch the video interview. You can hire somebody right on the site.
Awesome.
And that's
So
another,
really, yeah,
it's,
really
it's
customizing and put it in line with your own brand right from the start.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. And it's it
Um,
that and that the feedback we've gotten from our clients, that's their favorite part. They do love handling the social media at a great price, but the hiring, and I'm talking landscaping companies, roofing companies, they're like, what you've done with my hiring is the best thing that you've done because I
awesome.
they can watch a video interview at 2 in the morning and say, oh, this we gotta call this guy right away. We gotta hire this guy. Or resume's perfect, qualifications are perfect, but I didn't like the video interview. Funny enough, that's been the feedback that we've gotten people enjoy the most.
Awesome. Yeah, I can imagine so because it is a personal part of your business and putting that trust into hiring and outsourcing and growing. It's a lot of personal touches and trust that you have to align with as well. So I can imagine that's a great part. Now, as you see the industry evolving, VA virtual assistants are a big trend at the moment. Where do you see yourself positioned in that and for the future into the coming years?
We would really like to be a leader in the space. We take very good care of our people. We make sure, so we make sure our guys have red light therapy. We make sure they're taking care of their health and their self and their family. Obviously, they're working the night shift. So
Mm,
you're cognizant of that. We make sure that all of their holidays are observed. So they get to double dip with us. They get the American holidays, they get the Filipino holidays. We make sure that they have their benefits. They basically the package that we've built is similar to the Big Four consulting package here in America. So we want to become that's our true model that we're after. They get phenomenal PTO benefits. We make sure everybody has a sufficient computer. 2 monitors is crucial. Once you use 2 monitors, you can't go back. And we try to take as good a care of people as possible. That flex thing that I mentioned, we have 100% acceptance rate on time off. That's something that we pride ourselves in. If somebody needs time off, we as an organization should have an SOP, standardized
yeah,
procedure, so that somebody can fill in and we don't miss a beat. There shouldn't be a time where we're forcing somebody to work because the productivity is not going to be there.
yeah.
And ironically, what that's resulted in is people working more overtime. As people saying, hey,
Awesome.
my friend just left a VA agency when he heard about us. He wants to come over to us. Okay, great. So it's led to better culture, better productivity, and we haven't had to market because the word of mouth is there.
Nice, love that. And yeah, my mind went straight to trust within the workplace. If you love the people you're working for, you're 9 times out going to put everything you've got into that. And if you're providing that for people and then sharing that services with others, it just builds that level of trust again. And no wonder you've got such great outcome from it so far. Now, just to switch gears a little bit, we're going to go into a lightning round just to finish off.
Okay.
What is one tool or resource that has been a big game changer in your business?
Definitely AI and effectively using AI. It reminds me of Google back in the day.
Yeah,
One person could be tasked with looking for something on Google versus another person get a completely different result. Understanding how to best use ChatGPT, Grok is completely different. How to talk to Grok, learn how to talk to them, how to use them effectively for your organization and learn how to refine it. When it spits out the result and you're not happy with it, you can ask it to fix it to the way that you like it. So that's what we've noticed with our clients. They're not effectively using AI.
yeah, AI is a hot trend at the minute and definitely have to be using it the right way alongside with us and training it to do what we want to do is definitely the big challenge at the moment.
And
So
auditing
what,
it.
yeah, yeah, 100%. So what's the best piece of advice that you've received about scaling a business?
It's exactly what I said. not to focus on marketing and advertising, but the best piece of advice I've received for that is you can't build a house, but you can lay a brick.
Can't build a house, but you can lay a brick. You can start somewhere. Love that.
Yeah.
So, what advice would you give to founders who have just started, who are just looking to start their journey?
You have signed up for a journey. You have signed up for a journey that's going to be 100 times harder than you ever imagined. And just make sure you're prepared for that and make sure that you enjoy that. You have to be able to enjoy that if you want the success. You can't be thinking about a Lamborghini or a yacht. You have to be thinking about the sleepless nights. And friends and family are going to be affected by that as well. So make sure if you're not married yet, if you don't have kids yet, try to squeeze it in now. I've got 3 kids, 2 and under. And I remember a couple of years ago, my wife was like, "Why are you staying up all night building this system? And once it's all automated, it's really going to matter later." And now I get to work from home. I get to spend so much time with my kids, but it did cost a lot of sleepless nights to get.
Yeah, I can imagine putting in the graft is often one thing people forget on the way to success. So, yeah, solid advice there moving forward. And that is a wrap on another inspiring episode of Founders Future. I want to thank Kevin for sharing his incredible insight and journey with us today. And to our listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe to Founders Future via wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. You can also find more insights and resources at closers.io, where we're dedicated to helping businesses accelerate their sales and marketing efforts through world-class systems and playbooks. Until then, keep climbing, and we will see you on the next one.